Will there be a soccer stadium on the Mission Valley Qualcomm Stadium site? Multiple plans are being kicked around, but nobody's scored yet. Traffic courts can help the poor make alternate arrangements to pay fines, but in Kearney Mesa, it's pay up or lose your license. And the Navy and Marine Corps are still using live animals to train battlefield medics while other services have stopped. I'm Mark Sauer. The KPBS Roundtable starts now. Welcome to our discussion of the week's top stories. I'm Mark Sauer, and joining me at the KPBS Roundtable today are KPBS Environment and Business reporter Eric Anderson. Hi, Eric.
Hi, Mark.
Good to see you today. Roger Sholey, who covers growth and development for the San Diego Union Tribune. Hi, Roger.
Hey, Mark.
KPBS investigative reporter Amitha Sharma. Hi, Amitha.
Hi, Mark.
Glad to have you back. And investigative producer J.W. August of NBC7 San Diego. Hi, J.W.
Hello, Mark.
Well, the Chargers have fled to L.A., but some local developers are hoping we'll get a big kick out of SoccerCity, a kick worth $1 billion and then some. Rarely has there been such a juicy development opportunity as the Qualcomm Stadium site smack in the middle of Mission Valley. Now comes a push to bring Major League Soccer there, plus housing, student and otherwise, offices, retail, college football, and a river park. Eric, that's a lot of stuff here. Start with an overview. What does this plan call for?
It's a 166-acre plot of land. It's where Qualcomm Stadium currently sits. Big parking lot around the stadium right now. And what they want to do is put in a river park along the southern edge of that property, along the San Diego River. They want to add a Major League Soccer stadium, $200 million stadium. They want to add possibly an NFL stadium. They'll leave space for it. Not something that they're going to build out right away, but if there's interest, they would have room for that. And then around it, they want to build 4,800 homes, somewhere in the neighborhood of 2.5 million square feet of commercial space, and then they want to add some retail space as well, and a couple of hotels. And they're going to put it all inside of that 166-acre site, but there's some tight roping there. A lot of that development is going to end up in an 80-acre parcel.
So less than half the site. Yeah.
Slightly less than 80 acres, because if they ask to redevelop more than that, then they'll have to go to the public for a vote, and they want to try to avoid that. So it's a lot less area there. Okay, and we're going to get to some of those details. Roger, who's behind this? Who are the developers out of La Jolla?
Company name, well, it's a firm named FS Investors La Jolla. They used to be a hedge fund operator. They do joint ventures with other developers around the country.
And what's the value of this land? That gets a little tricky, doesn't it?
Well, it's been estimated from $0 to $3 million an acre. Okay. So it's zero because there's so much to mitigate as far as getting rid of this Qualcomm Stadium, dealing with the soil, regrading the whole property, transportation, on and off site improvements, on and on and on. If you start adding up all those costs of, say, $200 million, it could easily end up being zero value. In fact, the development agreement says that if it becomes zero value, that we only have to pay you $10,000 for the whole thing, $125 an acre.
Wow. Which is great fodder for the opponents who are not interested in seeing this proposal move forward, because they're saying, look, we can't give you this plot of land for just 10 grand. It doesn't make any sense.
But no matter who it is, it's going to be the same thing. So it's whether this group or some other group, who knows how many people want to do this.
But the point is, the public should be allowed to vote. This shouldn't be some deal cut someplace and not let us have our say on this. Just because we're a jilted lover and our lover went to L.A. doesn't mean we got to, hop into bed with the first suitor that comes along. and they got a nice car.
Yeah,
so there may be some news on this today. Yeah. There is talk about maybe the developers will allow it to go to a vote and in a special election, which could not be held till, I don't think, October, November. So my question is that going to make the deadlines that they talk about realistic, or can they meet them, or whatever? It's all very up in the air.
Yeah, now that is a red flag here among several, because why do we on this fast time track here? What's the deadline here? It has to do with soccer, right?
Well, the first deadline was January 31st. They had to submit bids. There were 12 cities that submitted bids, including San Diego.
This is for a franchise with a Major League Soccer
And it wasn't a free-for-all. They had to pre-qualify these bidders in advance. So FS Investors has the San Diego franchise to ask for a franchise.
Okay, so they're the sole folks who can bring us a Major League Soccer franchise here. And again, we should say that this is a dual stadium, right? San Diego State Aztecs are going to play
Aztecs will play there as well. The Major League Soccer timeline really runs to the fall. What FS Investors was hoping initially was we could have a decision by June. That would mean the stadium plan would move forward. It gives the MLS the certainty that they're looking for, and then they could decide in the fall whether or not San Diego would get one of those franchises. If the council decided not to approve the plan outright and it had to go to the ballot, that ballot wouldn't happen until November, the first
this
round
November,
of,
2017.
and that would put the MLS project into jeopardy. And then I think there are still questions as to what happens if San Diego isn't picked anyway, and they give the developers the keys to that property. Do they still move forward with the investment without MLS?
Well, there was a reverter clause saying if we don't build a stadium in 7 years, the land goes back. But then there may be the legal details, small fine print.
Do they build the other properties moving
No.
forward?
Well, we don't know. We don't know.
That's
the problem with this
there's-
one.
If you read this thing, there's more than 3,000 pages of legalese, plans. I mean, I tried to read it all. I didn't read about noise and.
We see what you're doing
animals.
this weekend, all right?
This is 2 weeks ago they put it out.
Wow.
So in there, and obviously I'm not a lawyer, there are certain little words and things that most people would not realize. And then the UT, they bought a legal advertisement in the newspaper, 52 pages long and like 4-point type this small.
Pay your salary for the next 10 years with the. Hey, I want to get to a bite here on Mayor Faulkner announcing this, but before I do, San Diego State's a big player in this, right? And they weren't crazy about it. They're talking about, this is Gina Jacobs, San Diego State rep, saying the proposed gift of the stadium ownership may convey tax advantages to the investors, but no revenue rights normally associated with a gift. What's San Diego State saying?
Well, I mean, San Diego State would love to have free land. That's what universities want when they come to a city. They say, give us 100, 500, 1,000 acres, and we'll build a wonderful university. So they're not used to having to pay anything for the land. The second point is they don't have any plan for the camp or the property. They've talked about it. And they've thought, well, we could put housing, we could put classes, we could put KPBS. Who knows? But they've never actually given anybody a real plan for what they would do, how long they would take, how it would be paid for, who would do it. There are as many questions about San Diego State's ability to do this as the developers.
All right, let's hear from Mayor Faulkner here on the rollout of this idea.
We're talking about a long-awaited river park, residential buildings that will help our housing shortage, a permanent home for Aztec football, relief of a $250 million liability of taxpayers, an option for the NFL, and of course, the hub for this new exciting soccer proposal right here in America's finest city.
Wow, all he needs are some pom-poms there and a little dress.
Well, that's the thing too. It's this is kind of where the mayor's role is. He has that position where he can either support or not support the project, but beyond that, there's not much he really does. It's kind of up to the council who will decide whether or not they're going to move forward with this project.
All right, and have we taken the temperature? We'll come right back to you, Amita. Have we taken the temperature of the council?
Let's see. We asked David Garrick, polled the council.
Your UT reporter covers
what I could tell, 7 of the 9 people had good things to say.
Okay, all right.
So what are the chances, though, that a market like San Diego gets a soccer franchise? How attractive is it to the league?
Right. Well, do we have enough soccer fans?
They say San Diego had the second biggest viewership of the World Cup last time. As you know, every kid in San Diego plays soccer when he's 10 years old. So they have a built-in fan base, which they're counting on. And the MLS commissioner himself came to San Diego at the Faulkner press conference and said, if you do it, we will give it to you. So in effect. So if we follow their rules, we'll be it. I think the question is, so what? I mean, will this be a good team? Will it be as good as the Solos and Tijuana? Just because you give somebody a facility doesn't mean you have a fabulous team.
And in these stories that I read in preparation for this, I see that professional soccer, on average, is losing $100 million a year across the league.
So who knows if the league will even be there going forward years to come.
So we build this whole thing around this concept, and these guys are losing money.
Yeah, and you have a college stadium. Let's talk about another idea, JMI, the other plan put forward here, much more San Diego State centered and a campus idea, right?
So, but again, that's all speculation. I don't know what the university may need 2,000 housing units. These guys propose 800 for students. They want
an expansion of San Diego State, which is kind of shoehorned in here.
So
on the
ideally,
Mesa
that's
where
what
we
you
are.
would do. What I'm saying is that the university has no means to bring it off. They will have to get a developer to partner with, just like these guys are. So instead of having the developer driving it, the university would drive it, but you still need some private.
The advantage that FS Investors has is that they've actually sat down and done the math. They've got a detailed plan. They know where they want to put stuff. They have a ballpark on how much it's going to cost.
Where the funding is.
They're pitching the benefits for the city. And the other things that have been floating around just haven't carried that meat on the bone.
And I don't want to forget the alternatives, and one of them comes from Doug Manchester.
Yeah, that was the last thing. We have a few seconds left.
So
I wanted you to touch
he,
on that.
our former publisher, I can say that.
Right, of the UT.
He sent a short letter to the NFL, and then we talked to him some more about it, and he now proposes to keep Qualcomm in place, renovate it, and then build the development around it. Now,
as an NFL stadium to get a
and
franchise
a soccer
back
stadium
here.
and everything else.
Okay.
So that's, but there's no deal. There's no bones on or meat on the bones on that either.
All right. What happens now? I mean, what's the next step? As the city council takes up
It's
this?
in the city council. You know, you're going to start to see the petition gatherers out in front of your local supermarket asking you to sign the stadium to bring the MLS to San Diego. That's going to go on for a number of weeks. If they get the number of petition signatures they want, they'll probably bring it in front of the council. Their initial idea was May. They pushed that back to June. So sometime in the summertime, council will get a look at it, and they'll have to make a decision whether or not it's a good deal for the city.
See if they throw the holy water on it. All right, we'll be looking for all your reporting on that as we go forward. We're going to move on. Traffic court fines of even a few $100s can be onerous for poor people. That's why state law allows court commissioners to allow payment over time or community service to work off fines. Some courts in San Diego County do that, but apparently some refuse. Now, Amita, you interviewed some lawyers and some folks caught up in this. How does this work? I get a fine for whatever it happens to be, and I prove to these folks, what are the systems? What's the guideline on how they work with some people?
Well, you get a traffic ticket. If you can't afford to pay it, you don't pay it, you ignore it, then you get a civil assessment. That's $315. If you ignore it, you don't approach the court to get a payment plan, you know, your license gets referred for a suspension. You lose your driver's license. A lot of poor people, even after they lose their driver's license, at least it gets suspended, they continue to drive to work, and they continue to take their kids to school by driving. And if they get pulled over then their car gets impounded. And then they have to pay impound fees to get it back. And in order to get their license back, they have to pay, but they can't get their license back until they pay off their traffic tickets. The longer you wait, the longer you go without paying those tickets, the more fines you accumulate, and you could just see how
the meter's running, and it just keeps building up. So the state recognizes this, and they understand that this is a tough thing for some people, so there are guidelines to have the courts work with these people at the beginning, right?
Right, so for years, the state had been getting complaints that people simply couldn't afford to pay not only their traffic tickets but the late fines, obviously, because they just get higher and higher. So they finally listened, and they came up with an amnesty program. I think at the time, a couple of years ago, California had something like $10 billion in unpaid traffic tickets, and trying to recoup that money from people who couldn't afford to pay was a losing proposition.
Wasn't going to happen.
So they started this amnesty program, and the idea was to just give people a break. And the way you qualified was if you'd gotten a ticket before January 1st, 2013, you were on some kind of payment plan, you had your license suspended, then you qualified for this, and you could get up to an 80% reduction on what you owed.
All right, we do have a clip that goes to this. State Senator Bob Hertzberg wrote the amnesty bill. Here's talking about the results.
154,000 people have gotten their driver's licenses back, and the state has gotten millions and millions of dollars that it never would have gotten because people weren't paying this money. So it impacted people's lives, people who couldn't go get their medicine, or people who couldn't take their kids to school. Extraordinary stories that we heard throughout this process of hardship and just ridiculous fines.
And of course, you've interviewed some of these, put some real faces to some of these people. Former Navy SEAL candidate Timothy Lum. Tell us about him briefly.
So that's kind of an interesting story. So he was driving one day. He was talking to his mom on his cell phone. He got caught. He got pulled over. He got a ticket. It was a really bad time in his life. He was in Navy SEAL training. He had a slew of injuries to his legs, to his back, to his head. So he was laid up. He wasn't working. He wasn't in SEAL training. He was a student. He was supporting his wife and his 2 young children under $3,000 monthly stipend from the GI Bill, and he had a ticket with civil assessments, which was about $600. So he goes to the Kearny Mesa court, and he explains the situation. He asks if he can get a fee reduction, or if he can do volunteer work to pay the ticket off. He says that the traffic commissioner, Corinne Miesfeld, showed him no leniency, and his license was suspended, and he worked over the next several months to pay off the ticket.
So, and you say this is not an isolated story, and you interviewed a lawyer who gets a lot of these types of complaints out of Kearny Mesa.
Yeah, and I spoke to a lot of people at the Kearny Mesa court who had thousands of dollars in fines. But Liz Aronson says this.
She's the attorney.
Right, so she has handled scores of traffic ticket cases in San Diego County, and this is what she says. She says that the traffic commissioners in the Vista, the Chula Vista, and the El Cajon courthouses try to work with people who can't afford to pay their tickets. They give them 60 to 90-day extensions, but she says the commissioners in the Kearny Mesa traffic court require people to start paying within 30 days. She says that they also don't offer these hearings where people could show their inability to pay. She says at Kearny Mesa, the commissioners offer people community service to work off their tickets, but at Kearny Mesa, the commissioners offer what's called probation works projects, where you put on a vest and you pick up trash off the freeway. And Liz Aronson, said this is typically reserved for people who are on probation and who have committed far more serious criminal offenses. And she interprets all of this as Kearny Mesa having a propensity to punish people who are poor.
And they work with a collection agency, right? Tell us about
called Alliance One.
Tell us about
so the entire court system works with the collection agency called Alliance One. So going back to that amnesty program, Liz contends that Alliance One is deliberately shutting people out of the amnesty program. She says it's a big conflict of interest because the higher the fine or the more people pay, Alliance One gets a 10% cut.
Right.
And the way she says that they're shutting people out of the program is people will apply for amnesty, and their applications will get returned as incomplete. These people will take that same application to her, and she can't find anything wrong with it. So she resubmits it on their behalf. It doesn't get rejected, but it goes to the bottom of the pile. And every time somebody tries to check on it, they're told, well, we can't tell you the status.
And the meter's running. Now tell us about the response from Alliance One and the courts on these complaints.
No response from Alliance One, both on the first story dealing with amnesty and on the second story.
And what about the courts when you say, hey, all these folks are complaining and Kearny Mesa seems a trouble spot? What do the courts have to say?
Well, I spoke with on the first issue of Kearny Mesa, the presiding judge, Jeff Barton, said that that's absolutely not true. Nobody in Kearny Mesa is insensitive to the challenges that the poor face in paying off their tickets. He said that he sat in court himself and has not seen that. But he also said at the end of the day, look, these commissioners are simply implementing the laws set by the state legislature. In reference to Alliance One, you've got a chief administrative officer who oversees the contract at Superior Court with Alliance One. And despite the hundreds of complaints that Liz Aronson says her office has received over the past 2 years in connection with Alliance One, he says he hasn't heard any complaints.
There. Wow. Okay.
And that says something about the court system, I think. Why doesn't the executive director of the executive office know about the complaints?
Yeah, why aren't they aware of the complaints?
Aren't anybody communicating to these citizens? I imagine if I'm going to the bill collector and asking for help, and nothing happens, and I want to complain to who has oversight. Yeah. How can you find out if Roddy is the guy? Yeah. Can I go online and say I got a gripe about my ticket?
He's the chief administrative officer. Michael Roddy is the chief administrative officer. I can't believe you didn't get one complaint.
Yeah. Does the Isn't there a judge that oversees the entire
And
San
that's
Diego
the presiding
district?
judge,
So
Jeff
what's
Barton.
wrong with him? Why isn't he stepping up to do something?
Well, he also maintains that he hasn't heard these complaints about
So now that you told him, what did he say? I'll look into it, or oh, that's news to me, or what?
He said that he couldn't comment on something that was presented to him as a hypothetical.
All right. Well, we're out of time on that segment. We'll look forward to more stories on that. There's plenty to mine here, obviously. We're going to move on. Training for medics headed to the battlefield is critical. The more realistic, the more lives and limbs are safe for service members struck down in battle. But is the use of live animals in training of battlefield medics humane or even effective? JW, why are these animals, and we're talking about pigs and goats, mostly according to your story, why are they used, first of all, in the training of medics?
But because there is some thinking, I consider it old school thinking, that's the best way to expose them to battlefield conditions. They euthanize these animals and they remove their limbs, they shoot them, they cut them, and the corpsmen and sometimes special Marine forces, Marine Special Forces, will learn how to do procedures and try to, fix the wounds. But the point of the story is that there's a better way to do this, and it's done in many different places in our country, but for some reason, certain elements within the Department of Defense are sticking with this as the solution. They need to have this. The guys need to see the blood coming.
And as we said, some branches have moved away from this, and they're using simulators.
But
they have moved
elements
away.
have moved away from it.
Okay. And they're using instead simulators, right? These synthetic devices that can
And if you're interested in this, you should go online and look at simulators. That stuff is creepy. I mean, it looks like the real deal. There's one company in town that has one of probably the more popular ones where the guy, somebody actually gets in the suit, and the person being trained can cut him. It can duplicate wounds, and the person in the suit would react like somebody in that condition. So they really, so they have a real feel for it.
A realistic situation.
And the bottom line is, goat's anatomy and pig anatomy is not human anatomy. And I've talked to medical doctors both in the service and out of the services that say, hey, civilian doctors learn to train with cadavers and simulators. Most first world military organizations don't use pigs and goats. I'll tell you what I think it's about. I believe it's about the money. There's millions of dollars.
To a contractor to provide these animals, right?
There's several contractors on the East Coast and West Coast. This contractor that's doing, it's called CIMIC, they have an office in Oceanside, has a $1.5 million contract for this year for Pendleton, training Pendleton.
And you got a lot of details here. The Marines aren't crazy about this. They send the people off in training off-site in civilian clothes. Leave your cell phones here. We don't want pictures of this. Yeah.
It took I did the original story a year ago this month, and over that time frame I developed a couple active Marine sources who are great people, very smart. They would be poster people for the Marine Corps, the real gung-ho.
But they're upset about the use of these animals.
Really upset about this because they talk to the young corpsmen coming back, they see what's happening, and as they told me, they can be on Pendleton and no one's, a group is going to Afghanistan. That information is widely spread among the troops. They know who's going, what units, everything. But this stuff is kept secret. They pick them up early in the morning in buses. They tell them to wear civvies. They can't bring their cell phones. The bus that we had followed went 2 hours out of town to a closed golf course in Riverside.
Can I play
Roger?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just a second. It sounds horrible what they're doing, but in a way it's exposing them to trauma. So it may be an animal, but it is kind of creepy and horrible to do this to an animal. But when they're in the battle zone and someone is injured, they have to face the same traumatic experience as well. So perhaps there's some psychological training that goes along with this medical training.
Yeah, but some elements of the service have dropped it. If that was the case, then they would continue in other elements, but they're moving away from it. But
so then why are they doing it here now? Why are they still doing it?
I have no idea. The DOD says we're not convinced that the simulator suits and the mannequins they use are there yet, even though doctors from the civilian sector do this. And I talked to a military doctor at Balboa Hospital who said, why don't they come and observe our procedures? Why don't they look at human cadavers? You don't need to do this. These animals are euthanized. They're just laying there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like they're going to react to the wounds and the repairs.
Now, there's been a bipartisan push in Congress in recent years to move away from this, to abolish it and go to these simulators exclusively. How come that hasn't? It's a bipartisan push. We don't see much of that these days in Congress. Why isn't that happening?
It disappeared during the last administration, towards the end of the last administration. Jackie Spear, who is from California, is one of the congressmen leading the charge again, but right now there's a lot of other things going in Washington, and this probably is at the bottom of the wish list. But I still think it's something that the public should be aware of.
Okay. Short bit of time left here. Give us an idea of the scope of this. How many animals are we talking about used in combat trauma training every year?
I had that number here. I think it was 8,500 animals every year. And with these guys making $1.2 million a year, that buys you a lot of pigs and goats, I would say.
And, and again, it's the Marines and Navy that are really the ones clinging to
the
this.
Army, elements of the Army still do it, elements of the Air Force. But different sections are shutting down now. I guess the commands realize, hey, this stuff does work. We don't need to use euthanize pigs and goats to prepare people for the battlefield.
And he said it's cheaper in the long run anyway, right?
Oh, it is cheaper. After it's more expensive initially because McCready's the mannequin, but in time, after a number of uses of the mannequin, the costs go way down. So it's cost effective.
Use it over and over. All right, we have run out of time. We'll look for some more reporting on that as we move forward. Well, that does wrap up another week of stories at the KPBS Roundtable. I'd like to thank my guests, Eric Anderson of KPBS News, Roger Sholey of the San Diego Union Tribune, Mitha Sharma, also of KPBS, and J.W. August of NBC7 San Diego. A reminder, all the stories we discussed today are available on our website, kpbs.org. I'm Mark Sauer. Thanks for joining us today on the Roundtable.